Judas Priest is back with a brand new song, Panic Attack. So first of all, let's take a look at it, see what it might tell us about the upcoming album, and then hopefully answer the popular question of whether it still even sounds like Judas Priest. Here you go. The song opens with a very 80s sounding synth and guitar intro, which we all heard in the short teaser the band has presented at Power Trip. Overall, when this bit was presented, I was left rather puzzled on how this retro guitar tone and drum sound would fit with the classic Judas Priest sound. Yet after hearing the entire song, I have to point out that this intro, with its transformation from this almost nostalgic 80s vibe to a very modern sound and tune, is in fact a great forward that sets the mood for the entire track. By the way guys, for the record, at 1 minute and 17 seconds, this is actually the longest album intro, not counting Nostradamus, because that one is a different beast, in the entire Judas Priest discography to date.
Yes, that's true.
And yet to me, it does not sound overstretched at all. Quite the opposite. It does its job perfectly and is able to build this enormous anticipation for what is to come when Rob Halford and the boys finally burst in energy on the first chorus.
The clamor and the clatter of incense keys can bring a nation to its knees.
In the main chorus, Judas Priest do not fully abandon this retrospective vibe, but rather build on it. And yet Panic Attack sounds incredibly modern and evokes these almost futuristic feelings, combining the past and the present. And in such way, in my opinion, creating something new which we haven't really heard from this band yet.
It's a sign of the times when Bedlam rules, when the masses come down pompous fools, and the scales of justice dip in disarray.
Yet in terms of the song's structure, Judas Priest decided to not reinvent the wheel. You know how many were freaking out about those comments made by Richie Faulkner that Invincible Shield will be much more progressive sounding than Firepower?
Yep.
Well, while this may be true for the overall sound, for it does have some odd time signatures here and there, but we will of course have to hear more songs to make a proper judgment. But it is clear that in terms of the song's composition, it is still that good old Priest.
Man is a backball on dead ears, while a bit of mobs rip up their fears, go drifting around those corridors of power.
In fact, the Panic Attack structure is very similar to that of Painkiller, with a short and straight to the point chorus, an extensive main solo, and a sudden burst of energy towards the end of the song with a rather unexpected second guitar solo. And talking about the guitars, the main riff, which kind of follows you through the entire track in a couple of different variations, is rather simple yet extremely catchy. And together with the great harmonies placed throughout the song, gives out this really classic Judas Priest sound we all know and love this band for. And both Rob Halford and Richie Faulkner, when they were guests on my channel, spoke about how Glenn Tipton has been very much involved in the creative process behind Invincible Shield. Yes, it is true that he, of course, is not able to play guitar on a daily basis because of the Parkinson's disease, yet on his good days, he was as involved in the process as he possibly could have been. And I can't really vouch for how much of the actual recording is done by Glenn here. Honestly, it's kind of hard to tell. But knowing this band for pretty much my entire life, I can say that I can definitely hear Glenn Tipton's influence on the songwriting process of Panic Attack, which just once again shows that by now, despite all the terrible conditions and circumstances, him and Richie Faulkner were actually able to find this equilibrium in working together. By the way, way, guys, just real quick wanted to point out that only around 30% of the people who are watching my videos are actually subscribed to the Metal Pilgrim channel. So if for some reason you still haven't done so yet, and especially if this is not the first Defenders of the Faith series video you're watching on this channel, I would really appreciate it if you would consider doing it right now. Let's continue building this amazing heavy metal community together.
We're gonna have a good time. Always.
But anyways, one of the biggest questions and almost concerns for most of the Judas Priest fans after the announcement of the new album, as it is with most of the legacy bands, was the state of Rob Halford's voice. So here's the thing, and I know that I might get a lot of crap for what I'm about to say, but I actually truly believe so. But in my opinion, Panic Attack showcased the best Rob Halford sounded in ages, and especially on the high notes. And overall, the vocal performance on the first track of Invincible Shield is somewhat reminiscent of the Ramadown/Painkiller era.
Nice.
And no, seriously, even with all the modern technology, it is still freaky he's able to do that. I heard some people saying that Panic Attack is a love child of Painkiller and Firepower, and I get where that comparison is coming from, yet I don't fully agree with it. Yes, it is true that it can in parts remind us of Firepower or Painkiller, but I would actually go further and point out that to me it actually is somewhat reminiscent of Turbo and Ram It Down as well. And this of course is very much understandable given this track undeniably has a Judas Priest DNA in it. And yet, on Panic Attack, Judas Priest are not really trying to replicate their previous success, but rather are making yet another step forward. And this is exactly what I love about it.
It don't matter about your choice, 'cause all you get is an empty voice, and there's no way left to tell what's right from wrong.
The thing Judas Priest were always famous for is the whole fact that they never stood still. Not even two of Judas Priest albums ever sounded the same. And even after releasing their groundbreaking British Steel or immensely successful Screaming for Vengeance, this band never tried to replicate what they already did before. And from the sound of Panic Attack, it does look like on Invincible Shield, despite all the praise the fans gave them for Firepower, the band is getting ready to make yet another step forward.
And bust your mind amidst the angry throng.
In fact, in my opinion, on this first single of Invincible Shield, the band is actually taking a much more adventurous approach, much more so than pretty much on anything of Firepower. And yet, Panic Attack is straightforward enough to not be misunderstood by the old-fashioned fans. And here's the thing, I personally loved Firepower, and of course I love Painkiller, Ram It Down, and Turbo as well. And so here in the first track of Invincible Shield, I have to point out that if the rest of the songs on this album are on par with what we heard on Panic Attack, then some of our favorite classic Judas Priest albums might actually have a worthy contender for the place on top of the Judas Priest discography.
Panic attack, panic attack. Panic attack, panic attack.
And by the way, and I'm recording this a bit later as you can see, but something that I felt right away, but I kind of couldn't really formalize until many people who live in Ukraine just started bringing this to my attention, is that the intro guitar sound actually does sound a lot like air raid siren, which kind of gave me a little bit of a panic attack even upon the first listen. So here I just wanted to thank Rob Halford and all of you guys for all your support to me, this show, and Ukraine through this very, very difficult time. Just please know that your support means the world to me and all Ukrainian metalheads. But anyways, what do you guys personally think about Panic Attack, and what do you expect from Invincible Shield? Please let us know in the comments. Will prevail. Slava Ukraini!